Member states answered the call to make 2015 a year of global action, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said, as he welcomed the agreement reached on a new sustainable development agenda for the next 15 years.
This is truly a we the people's agenda, and it is a roadmap to ending global poverty, building a life of dignity for all, and leaving no one behind. It is also a clarion call to intensify efforts to heal our planet for the benefit of these and future generations.
The new agenda, which contains 17 Sustainable Development Goals, expands on the success of the Millennium Development Goals, which had a target date of 2015.
In many ways, these goals, global goals, represent a to-do list for people and the planet. They are people-centered and planet-sensitive. They are universal, applying to all countries while recognizing different realities and capabilities.
World leaders will formally adopt the new agenda at a summit held at the United Nations next month. This will be followed by a major conference in Paris in December, at which they hope to adopt an ambitious universal climate change agreement. Civilians continue to bear the brunt of the Afghan conflict in the first half of 2015, according to a new United Nations report. The UN Assistance Mission in Afghanistan and the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights have documented almost 5,000 civilian casualties from January through June 2015, a 1% increase compared to the same period in 2014. Total casualties in 2015 are projected to equal or exceed the record high numbers from last year.
What we are essentially dealing with is unacceptably high levels of civilian casualties, of destruction of life and property of civilians.
90% of civilian casualties resulted from ground engagements, improvised explosive devices, complex and suicide attacks, and targeted killings.
There's obviously a pressure on us to show precisely the numbers and the percentage increases and decreases in any set of given categories. And behind that we lose sight of the real cost, which is real men, women and children who are killed and maimed, who bear injuries for life, and the costs of which are borne by families and ordinary communities.
The report calls on all parties to the conflict to protect civilians from harm as mandated by international humanitarian law. The UN agency assisting Palestinian refugees, or UNRWA, is facing what it has described as its most severe financial crisis ever. Unless $100 million is secured by the middle of August, some 700 schools may be forced to be suspended, which will delay the school year for 500,000 students across the Middle East.
In a letter transmitting the report to the General Assembly, the Secretary General expressed his deep concern over financial situation confronting the agency and the humanitarian, political, and security consequences that will result if adequate and sustainable financing for 2015 and beyond is not made available immediately.
The Secretary General urged donors to act urgently to put UNRWA on a firm financial footing.
The Secretary General has also personally spoken to several world leaders in the past few weeks on this topic, and he calls on all donors to urgently ensure that the required funds be contributed to UNRWA at the earliest possible date so that the children can begin their 2015-2016 school year without delay.
UNRWA, which began its operations in 1950, provides assistance and protection for some 5 million registered Palestine refugees in the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria.